Hello there, very good evening and welcome to the news at 6 here on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tracy Shilshi and here are the headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi accuses the opposition Congress for trying to destroy the environment of Parliament, suggests that they take a pledge not to disrupt proceedings in the new year. The CPI plenum ends in Kolkata. The party decides to bring in more flexibility into its political approach and style of functioning. Delhi government and the centre at loggerheads once again. Over 200 Danix cadre officers go on mass leave over suspension of their colleagues. The centre terms the suspension null and void. Delhi braces for the odd-even rule to come into force starting Friday. The trial run is lackluster as volunteers stay away. And Auckland ushers in the new year with a spectacular fireworks display as the world celebrates under a heavy security cover. Top story this evening, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has hit out at the Congress for disruption of proceedings in Parliament. He accused the opposition party of trying to slow down progress. Addressing a public meeting in Noida, the Prime Minister also asked the Congress party to pledge to allow Parliament to function in the new year.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Thursday laid the foundation stone for a 14-lane expressway between Delhi and Meerut. Speaking at a public meeting shortly afterwards, the Prime Minister targeted the Congress party, accusing it of trying to destroy Parliament.
जिनको जनता ने ठुकरा दिया, उन्होंने अब संसद को बांध में लिया हुआ है। लोकसभा में तो हमें बोलने का अवसर नहीं मिल रहा है, लेकिन मैं जनसभा में ऐसे आग्रह कर रहा हूं कि देश की जनता ने हमें संसद में चर्चा करने के लिए भेजा है। हमारी जिम्मेवारी है जनता ने हमें जिस काम के लिए भेजा है उसको प्राथमिकता देना, उसको पूरा करना।
Ushering in 2016, the Prime Minister suggested a New Year's resolution to the Congress.
आप जब नया वर्ष मना रहे हो तो एक संकल्प ये भी कर लो कि आप 2016 के से अब संसद में रुकावटें नहीं डालोगे, संसद को चलने दोगे.
However, the Congress was quick to retort, saying that it was the opposition's job to raise issues of public importance inside Parliament.
तो आपने 10 साल तक किस हक से देश की संसद को रोके रखा, जब कांग्रेस सत्ता में थी और भाजपा विपक्ष में था? हमारा मानना है कि संसद के संचालन का जिम्मा सरकार का है और जनता की आवाज उठाने का जिम्मा विपक्ष का।
The year has ended with the Modi government unable to get 2 legislations passed due to stiff opposition from the Congress, which has greater numbers than the BJP in Rajya Sabha. Now, these include the GST bill and the land acquisition bill. With inputs from Pranav Goswami, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The CPI has decided to adopt a more flexible political line and working style. At the party plenum in Kolkata, it was decided that the party will mould itself according to the current political environment. Besides this, the party will also work towards ending its internal divisions.
The CPM will consider allying with the Congress for the assembly elections in West Bengal. Ever since Sitaram Yechuri took over as the party general secretary, speculation was rife that he would bring in more flexibility in the party's political line. And this alliance, if it happens, would be the first step in that direction. In the past, the party has stayed away from being part of the government at the centre due to its rigid political line. The change in line in West Bengal would also give a big boost for Yechuri's plans of forming an anti-BJP front on the national level.
As far as electoral tactics are concerned, the concerned state committees will discuss this issue on the basis of the concrete situation there, and they will make their proposals. Once the state committees discuss and make their proposals, then the Central Committee in the Politburo will take the final call.
So you are not ruling out the possibility of alliance as of now?
I am saying that is not in the current agenda now.
At the plenum, Sitaram Yechuri also stressed on the need to end divisions within the party.
There are many organizational changes that have been suggested, but the main thing is to develop this revolutionary party with a mass line, improve the quality of the party, improve the quality of the contact with the leadership, with the people, to deepen our links with them. So there are many proposals that we will come to know shortly. But one thing is for definite, after the plenum, it is a re-galvanized party.
The decisions taken at this plenum are reminiscent of Sitaram Yechury's own political line. These will now be implemented in a time-bound manner. Shyam Sundar's report from Kolkata for Rajya Sabha TV.
Now, the Delhi government and the centre are once again on the path of confrontation. This time, the issue is the suspension of 2 Danik cadre officers. The centre on Thursday termed the Delhi government's decision to suspend the 2 officers null and void. Meanwhile, in a show of solidarity with the suspended officers, 200 Danik cadre officers went on a mass leave, while 70 IAS officers struck work for half-day.
The Delhi government was without almost all its senior bureaucrats on Thursday as they went on mass leave protesting the suspension of 2 officials, even though the centre has declared the suspension void. The Delhi government has called the strike part of a conspiracy to fail the odd-even scheme.
बड़ा फैसला और एक बड़े आंदोलन की तरफ दिल्ली सरकार बढ़ रही है। जनता तो हमारे साथ है, लेकिन केंद्र सरकार और भारतीय जनता पार्टी की सरकार हर कीमत पर इसको फेल कर दिया जाए, इसके लिए सक्रिय हो चुकी है। आज जिस तरह से सामूहिक रूप से छुट्टी दिलवाई गई और सारा खेल खेला गया कि जिससे कि इस पूरे अभियान को प्रभावित किया जाए।
While around 200 Danik cadre officers went on a day-long mass leave, over 70 IAS officials struck work from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. They were protesting the AAP government's action against Yashpal Garg and Subhash Chandra, both special secretaries. The 2 officers were suspended after they refused to sign a file pertaining to the cabinet decision to increase salary of public prosecutors.
They have lowered the level of politics, and now they are going below and lowering the level of the governance. They should concentrate on the governance and they have been elected to the power, rather than going into the issues and blaming the central government and unnecessarily taking a confrontationist attitude.
Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal took to Twitter to criticize the officers' action. In a series of tweets, he said that the time had come to replace bureaucrats with professionals and sector experts to infuse fresh energy and ideas in governance. With inputs from Annu Diwan, Bureau Report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And staying with the Delhi government on Thursday, it conducted a 2-hour coordination trial run ahead of the implementation of the odd-even formula for vehicles from the 1st of January. The Delhi government hopes that the scheme will be effective in curbing the high pollution levels in the capital. And the national capital, remember, was dubbed as the most polluted of 1,600 cities around the world that was surveyed last year by the WHO.
Test run a day before the odd-even rule for cars to be implemented in the national capital. 200 points across the city were part of the exercise between 9 and 11 on Thursday morning to test the coordination between various agencies. However, the dry run was lackluster as hundreds of volunteers failed to show up. Besides, some 40 officers who were to be a part of the drive went on leave to protest the suspension of 2 of their colleagues by the AAP government. However, the Delhi government is confident that the scheme would be a success.
3 एजेंसियां इसमें अलग-अलग जैसे सिविल डिफेंस के लोग हैं, ट्रांसपोर्ट डिपार्टमेंट के लोग हैं और ट्रैफिक पुलिस के लोग हैं, तो इनके बीच में तालमेल हो जाए। मैं कम से कम अपने सर्किल में अधिक 90% लोगों को जानता हूं जिन्होंने अपनी लिस्ट मुकम्मल कर ली है, तैयार कर ली है कि कार्ड वाले दिन किसके साथ जाना है और इवेंट वाले दिन किसके साथ जाना है। तो दिल्ली तैयार है।
हमने कोई भी अच्छी पहल को हम समर्थन करते हैं, जैसे हमने सीएनजी अवेलेबिलिटी के बारे में कुछ पहल किया और हम अभी दिल्ली में भी BS4 उपलब्ध करवाते हैं और जितना जल्दी हो हम BS6 को सीधा 2020 तक भारत की बाजार में ले आए, दिल्ली के अंदर ले आए, उसकी भी पूरी तैयारी कर रहे हैं।
For the first 15 days of 2016, odd-numbered cars will be allowed to run on odd dates and even-numbered cars on even dates. The rule will not be applicable on Sunday when all cars will be allowed. The restriction will apply between 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Those who violate the rule will be fined 2,000 rupees. Exemptions have been made for medical emergencies, single women drivers, VIPs, CNG cars and two-wheelers. However, in response to a petition, the High Court has questioned the exemption of women and two-wheelers. Meanwhile, to cope with the extra pressure on the public transport network, 3,000 private buses have been hired. Schools have been asked to remain closed till 15th of January so that their buses can also be pressed into service. The Delhi Metro will also run additional trains. Around 125 teams of the Transport Department and Revenue Department will be deployed during the 15-day road rationing plan.
तमाम ऑफिसर्स को जानकारी दे दी गई है, उनकी मीटिंग की गई थी, उनको समझाया गया था कि किन गाड़ियों को इसमें से छूट दी गई है, उन गाड़ियों को कैसे पहचानना है, वो लिस्ट उनको दे दी गई है। हमारी जो चालान मशीन है, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक चालान मशीन, उसके अंदर भी इसकी धारा 115 को डाला गया है।
We are deploying all our additional resources. 198 trains will run from morning till night. 770 extra trips will run. During off-peak hours, the train frequency will increase. We are deploying more staff.
Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal says the move will drastically reduce air pollution in Delhi, which is more than 10 times the World Health Organization's safe limits. Around 8.5 million vehicles fill Delhi's roads and 1,400 new cars are being added every day. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And time now to take you through what else is making news across the country and nationwide. 29 fishermen from Tamil Nadu have been detained for violating the Sri Lankan maritime boundary and 3 of their boats were seized. The group of arrested fishermen are under the custody of the Trincomalee Beach Conservation Police for further investigation. 2 Lashkar-e-Toiba militants have been killed in an overnight encounter with security forces in Pulwama district of South Kashmir. Security forces and Special Operations Group of State Police had surrounded the village late on Wednesday following reports that 2 to 3 militants were hiding inside a house. The bodies of the militants were recovered on Thursday morning. At least 9 people were killed and 15 injured when a private bus hit a car from behind. The accident took place at Mehta village about 15 kilometers from Amritsar. The bus driver fled the spot soon after the accident. Meanwhile, angry kin of the victims and local residents set the bus on fire after evacuating all passengers. Those killed in the accident are yet to be identified. Prime Minister Narendra Modi today emphasized the importance of finding a durable solution to Nepal's political problems. During a telephonic conversation with his Nepalese counterpart, KP Oli, the Nepalese Prime Minister called up Narendra Modi and briefed him on the political developments in his country. The Nepalese cabinet has decided to amend the constitution to address key demands of the Madhesis, a matter which has strained ties between the two countries. The leaders also discussed matters related to improving bilateral ties. KP Oli also accepted the Prime Minister's invitation to visit the country and said that he will pay an official visit to India soon after the situation normalizes. Oli would visit India before undertaking his trip to China, which was earlier supposed to be his maiden visit overseas. Without a quick break here, more news follows. Do stay with us.
Many flowers have a 5-fold symmetry. They have 5 petals.
Correct.
Some of them have 4. Some of them have 6. I want to understand why this is happening or how this is happening. Last 50 years, 60 years, people have been working on it. Still the answer is not no. I want to use my mathematics, physics, chemistry to understand the origin of symmetry in the flower.
Welcome back. Now, thousands gathered in Auckland to usher in 2016 in New Zealand. Around 25,000 people gathered around the Sky Tower in the heart of the capital. The impressive fireworks display is reportedly the biggest in the city's history. Samoa and Kiribati were the first countries to usher in 2016 an hour before New Zealand. But there is tight security in place ahead of New Year celebrations across India. Police barricades are up and personnel have been deployed in large numbers to keep a check on late-night revelers.
As we bid goodbye to the year gone by and usher in 2016, policemen will be out on the roads making sure that everyone is safe. Security is tight across the country. Barricades are up and police are keeping a close watch on revelers. The national capital will see an unprecedented security cover as the police keeps an eye on crowded places, markets, bus stations, railway stations and other specific locations. All vehicles coming into the city have undergone stringent security checks. The Mumbai police started its drive to check drivers on Wednesday itself. Drivers were checked for excessive alcohol consumption.
न्यू ईयर को देखते हुए जहां भीड़ भड़ाका का इलाका है वहां पे हमें खास बंदोबस्त रख रहे हैं। जहां जहां हमें लगता है बहुत ज़्यादा पब्लिक है वहां पे पुलिस की प्रेजेंस रहेगी और हमारी जो BDDS वगैरह और डॉग टीम है वो भी हमें लगता है जहां पे जरूरी है तो हम वहां पे वो सब चेकिंग करवाएंगे।
The hill town of Shimla has also geared up to host thousands of tourists who are in the city for New Year celebrations. At least 200 more policemen have been deployed across the town as part of the extensive security cover.
मेरी आपको पूरी आश्वासन देता हूं कि यहाँ पे लॉ एंड ऑर्डर की कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है और स्पेशल इंतजाम किया गया है। 200 से अधिक पुलिस कर्मचारी जो है इस न्यू ईयर ईव और पर्यटक के रश को मेंटेन करने के लिए लगाए गए हैं।
All these security arrangements will come to naught without help from citizens. So here is hoping that everyone has a safe and secure New Year.
Well, fears of terrorism and the recent spate of attacks have provided for a somber backdrop to New Year celebrations across the globe as well. There will be no New Year's festivities in Brussels, not even the annual traditional fireworks. Paris too is on alert, keeping celebrations low. In the United States, there's a tight security in the high-profile locations, including New York's Times Square and the Rose Bowl activities near Los Angeles.
It's probably a sign of the times that we live in that people across the world are bringing in the new year under a heavy security cover and several terror alerts. After a tumultuous year marked with terror attacks and shootings, Paris is celebrating the new year in a context of sobriety and togetherness. Security has been heightened at key tourist locations. In fact, the fireworks and the light display onto the Arc de Triomphe have been cut short.
We do feel safe. Obviously, New Year's Eve will be a little bit different for this city. I don't think we will be heading out into the main attractions just because of the things that have happened, but generally enough in the days and in the nights we do feel safe enough.
Là, tous les moyens sont mis en œuvre pour que les fêtes se déroulent bien. Mais il faut rester extrêmement vigilant. Les menaces sont toujours là, les risques sont toujours présents. La présence de ces forces sur l'ensemble du territoire national et singulièrement ce que nous avons vu aujourd'hui montre qu'il faut être très très vigilant.
Authorities in the Belgium's capital Brussels called off the city's traditional New Year's Eve fireworks display, citing fears of a militant attack. The nation is on high alert as authorities arrested 2 more people in connection with the planned attacks.
I didn't know that the fireworks were cancelled, but now that I found that out, I'm a little sad that they're not doing the fireworks. I think it would have been great if they could still do them for the New Year's celebration.
Well, I'm surprised, but I'd imagine they would have their reasons, so whatever they feel is safe, safety and security is the most important thing, so I'm sure they have their reasons.
In the West, New York remains one of the top terror targets, but the police commissioner ruled out any credible threat against revelers. Nevertheless, security measures are more extensive than ever in New York, Los Angeles and Washington. There are concerns about the soft targets such as large gatherings and mass transit systems. Thousands of federal, local police officers and a new counter-terrorism unit are keeping a strict vigil, screening people and patrolling rooftops.
New York City has now secured the Macy's Day Parade, the Marathon, and other large-scale events without any incident. New York City is the best prepared city in this world for handling an event like this.
All major cities of Turkey, Austria, Brazil, China and Bangladesh are also on high alert in the wake of terror threats. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And now let's get you some more international news updates in Global Buzz. Southeast Asian nations officially launched an EU-inspired economic bloc today. This bloc will be aimed at boosting the region's trading clout and attracting more investment. The 10-member group ASEAN hailed the project as a milestone in combining the economic force of a resource-rich and growing market of more than 600 million people. The US is preparing sanctions against firms and individuals in Iran over an alleged ballistic missile program. Such a move would be the first American sanctions against Iran since Tehran signed a nuclear deal in July. Under the planned restrictions, US or foreign nationals would be barred from doing business with the firms and people in the networks. 2 students were awarded the death penalty by a Bangladesh court for killing secular blogger Ahmad Rajib Haider nearly 3 years after he was hacked to death in Dhaka. These students had vowed to kill atheist bloggers, the investigation office said in the charge. All right, some sports news now. And the Indian football team has entered the finals of the SAF Cup for the 10th time, beating Maldives 3-2 in the semi-final. Indian skipper Sunil Chhetri scored the first goal through a header to make it 1-0 for the hosts. 3 minutes later, Hehe Lalpekwa doubled the lead, but Nasheed Ahmed pulled one back for Maldives to make it 2-1 at half-time. In fact, JJ restored India's 2-goal lead, but Amdan Ali once again pulled one back to make it 3-1. India will now face the winner of the other semi-final match to be played between defending champions Afghanistan and Sri Lanka. And let's get you more updates from the world of sports in SportsBeat. Indian Test cricket captain Virat Kohli has been named 2015 International Cricketer of the Year by the BCCI. Kohli led the team to their first away Test series win since 2011, which was also the first Test series win in Sri Lanka after 22 years. Indian spinner R. Ashwin finished as the #1 ranked bowler in the 2015 ICC Test Player Rankings. With this, Ashwin became the first Indian to achieve this milestone since Bishan Singh Bedi in 1973. Starting the year in the 15th position, Ashwin emerged as 2015's most successful bowler with 62 wickets in 9 matches. Christian Benteke's strike helped Liverpool register a 1-0 victory over Sunderland in the Premier League on Thursday. With this, the Reds moved to 7th position on the league table with 30 points, and Sunderland were left struggling in the relegation zone with 12 points. Cristiano Ronaldo scored 2, while Lucas Vazquez scored 1 to help Real Madrid beat Real Sociedad 3-1 in a La Liga match on Wednesday. Madrid currently sits at the top of the table, 1 point clear of second-place Barcelona. Barca have 2 games in hand and will play their 16th league game later tonight. That's all we have for you on the news at 6. Have a great evening.